Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Thompson. I am the team lead for RPIW number 9, Improving Standard Work for Real-Time Demand Capacity. Me and my team will be presenting to a tack time of 20 minutes. This is my team, and they will introduce themselves as they come up and speak this afternoon. Just go over the RPIW workshop sheet with you. We had a change of Gemba early in our RPIW. Just like to take a moment to acknowledge Kara and her staff at 5A for really making us comfortable and being supportive. This is the high-level process steps that we observed. The current situation shows us gaps in standard work for bed huddles, multidisciplinary rounds, and daily bedside meetings. The staff were using a prediction sheet, but there was no section on that prediction sheet for any follow-up. There was no PM huddles that identified or existing, and we also identified duplication of roles, MUDA, and waiting time in the process. And we also identified little value add in the daily bedside meetings. I will go over the target progress sheet here now. Some of the key pieces that we identified is the number of pieces of data that were on the prediction sheet. There was originally 28. We targeted 22. The daily bedside meeting, we originally started with 33 people at the bed meeting. We predicted that we could get down to 17. Okay, next page, please. The action items on the predictability sheet, there wasn't a section for the action items. So we wanted to add one for that follow-up piece. And then the AM and the PM bed huddles. Oops, I'm sorry, it's on the back last page. But the AM and PM bed huddles. The AM huddle, we started at 21 minutes. We wanted to bring it down to 10. And the PM huddles, we wanted to bring it... There wasn't a PM huddle, and we wanted to go with a tack time of 10 minutes. It's the tack time sheet I will go over now. Okay, and this is the calculation of the tack time sheet. We use 12 hours as our basis because we found that most patients are discharged between the hours of 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock p.m. So that's how we got that 12 hours. It led us to finding out that the average daily discharge is 5.8 patients per day, or per hour, per day, pardon me, and that led us to a tack time of 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Our tack time. Hi everyone, I'm Barb Newman and I was the sub-team lead on RPIW number 9, and I'm going to talk to you about the current state value stream map. We had a demand and capacity predictability worksheet that already existed within our system, and so in our current state, that sheet starts after the charge nurse does her morning nursing report. She does an AM round around the unit that really looks at the needs of the unit, care concerns for the patients that morning. And then after that, she goes to the prediction sheet and completes it. From there, she takes those predictions to the bed meeting and shares that with the system as far as what they believe are the predicted discharges. They then go to a multidisciplinary round where the predictability sheet isn't utilized as a tool in that round. And it then sits dormant for quite a bit of the time, or the rest of the day, until at the end of the day they'll complete the section where the patients are discharged the time. It's faxed to bedline, and then the D system is flipped after midnight. So lots of tasks that are happening. We found our lead time was 20 hours and 30 minutes, and again our average discharges per day were 5.8. What we found in current state is there were no connections. Lots of actions and processes happening, but none of them were connected in terms of the D system, the predictability sheet, the standard work with the whiteboards that we've created for our patients and families to be informed about that discharge process. So in the future state, what we really tried to do was to create continuous flow and pull for our patients in this process. And so we looked at all 4 of the major components, and we really, with the patients and the people involved in this process, we wanted to improve the value for our patients. And so I'll let the team talk about the future state. What we did was a SWOT analysis, and we looked at this, and we did this pre-RPIW, And one of our key strengths were that some of the components of this process already existed for the work that we were going to do. One of our weaknesses were that often where the standard work had been created, it was not understood and often not followed. A threat, too many people at many points in the process we didn't find had add value. And then our opportunity was really that to take these pieces that already existed, to expand and improve on them, make sure everybody understood and link them together with the new pieces we created. So again, we have continuous flow and pull for our patients. And so now I'd like to introduce my team, or our team, to share how we got to the future state and all the great work that they've done this week.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Myra, and I am the manager of the Medical and Pediatric Intensive Care Unit at the Regina General Hospital. This is our current RQHR Daily Demand and Capacity Worksheet. It's got a great deal of data on it. It actually has 28 components on it. But what it doesn't have are very clear definitions of what a confirmed discharge is and what a predicted discharge is. There is no action plan included, and there is no alignment with the D system. So it was time to come up with a different idea. So I must admit I did have my own ideas, and thanks to the great feedback from the 5A staff, we now have a revised worksheet. So on it are very clear definitions of what a predicted discharge is and what a confirmed discharge is, using the consistent verbiage from the D system. We have included the number of overcapacity beds in use and available to ensure clear transparency for all stakeholders involved. For the predicted discharges, we've included what the most common barriers to discharge are, and in that we have included an action plan. So the barrier has been identified, and then the charge nurse will assign herself, himself, or the primary nurse to be the one to address that barrier so the patient can be discharged. The number of DAS are included. Sometimes the targeted unit cannot accept that patient postoperatively, so that's where it's going to be noted as to where the alternative placement will be. The information on this worksheet is aligned with the information that will be gathered at the daily bed meetings, so it's going to be easier to collate. And most importantly, we have included the patient's perspective. Are they ready for discharge? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bonnie McClintock, and I'm the patient family representative on this team. I decided to participate as a patient rep to address my concerns about engaging patients directly in their care and providing consistent communication to the patient and the family members. Our team reviewed AM huddles. We spaghetti diagrammed the AM huddle movement and found that 5A was pretty darn efficient. We also did timed observations with a cycle time of about 21 minutes to complete the morning huddles. Our idea sheet noted that the D system was not being updated in real time, and also that there was some confusion about standard work. So we did create standard work and trialed using the COW or the WOW, whatever you call it, to provide real-time patient data input. An RPIW has already been completed regarding the whiteboard, as Barb mentioned, but we recognize that the patient's perspective was really critical to having a successful and timely discharge. If they felt they weren't ready, there could be complications. So to link the whiteboard communication tool, we decided we needed to gather consistent real-time patient feedback, so we created a guideline for a script that staff could use with the patients already identified by the D system as being ready for discharge. So a patient would be asked, are you ready to go home today, and do you have any concerns about going home today? This would provide an opportunity to hear the patient's perspective, and it would allow staff and patient to confirm that all of the barriers to discharge had in fact been removed. This patient response will be recorded on the worksheet, as Michelle pointed out, and this information should then be consistent with the patient's whiteboard information and would flow through to the bed meeting.
Hi, my name is Sarah Reuter. I'm the clinical nurse educator on 5A, Neurosciences at the General Hospital. First, we're going to take a look at our standard work. as to how we're going to perform our AM huddle, and then we're going to also continue to monitor this and PDSA it over the next couple weeks. We also created a learning plan and multiple skill training checklist, which we have already had a chance to educate a few of the charge nurses on our floor, and we will, in the next couple of weeks, be able to talk and educate the rest of our charge nurses and the staff on 5A as to how this process is going to work. Next, we created a spaghetti diagram to see the flow of the new AM huddle and how it is going to work. We find it very efficient and also patient-centered. And lastly, we did some time observations. And as we were looking at these and collating the data with all the time observations that we did, we concluded that these took about 20 minutes to perform our AM huddle. Thank you.
I'm Charlene, and I'm the manager of Bedline, and I'll speak to the work we did on the bed meeting. One of the ways we identified was the overhead page that went out 15 minutes prior to the bed meeting. We asked that this be stopped, and the next day everyone still showed up on time and in the right room without the announcement. Pre-Kaizen, the meeting room had tables and chairs and our whiteboard, and so we trialed taking out the chairs and the table. This picture shows the whiteboard pre-Kaizen. We did a time observation, and the meeting took about 17 minutes on average. We identified that there was too many people and 17 different roles at the meeting. So to eliminate waste, we requested just the manager or designate attend the meeting, reduce the number of people to 15 and only 3 roles. Another idea we tried was the manager writing their information on the whiteboard as they entered the room. This will help to reduce time wasted gathering data. We also redesigned the whiteboard to follow the demand and capacity predictability sheet. The first PDSA we trialed was to identify patients coming into the system on the left-hand side and patients going out of the system on the top. This fail forward will probably go down in history. The second PDSA we trialed was, we can tell you a little bit more about that later. The second PDSA we trialed was to have the patients coming into the system next to the unit data. Sorry. And the patients going out of the system next to who was coming in. Today we also revisited that again, so we're on the third PDSA on our whiteboard. We've also created standard work for the bed meetings, and post-Kaizen, the bed meeting took 10 minutes and 14 seconds, reducing the time by 7 minutes.
Hi, my name is Darcy Magachu. I work in General Emerge. I'm here to talk about PM Huddle. This PM Huddle is here to correlate with AM Huddle to see where all the barriers are and if they have gotten resolved. We currently, before all this, there was nothing set up inside of that, and the head nurse or the charge nurse just did her thing. Now we have a time set up of 1400 to 1450. We said that nurse will grab her sheets, go around to just team leaders on the bay, and then find out what's been happening. If all the barriers have been met, if not, why not? So here's the spaghetti drawing with nothing has existed. And now, as you can see, it's quick. It's right around. This process took about 5 minutes and very, very valuable because they got things done, noted. So, and then we came up with I said 5 minutes, and it came up with a work plan. Standard work for this, and like I said, it takes about 5 minutes and very, very valuable.
Good afternoon. I'm David Capriva. I'm a physician. So pre-Kaizen, our standard work combination sheet shows that the work around this happens essentially in 3 clusters over the workday. Our percent load chart shows that we really don't have an issue with the cycle times meeting takt time. Post-Kaizen, you'll see that the work still occurs in 3 clusters over a 24-hour period. Unlike other lean work, We have necessary weights built in. We're not removing the weights. We're sampling the demand in the system and the capacity in the system at 3 points during the day, so those weights are necessary. Post-Kaizen, our percent load chart, you can see we've combined a few steps, eliminated a few unnecessary steps. This is really the meat of what we're doing. Real-time demand capacity requires accurate forecasting of who's going home. It's fortune telling, and fortune tellers have a crystal ball. Our crystal ball is cracked. These are defects. We're not picking up who's supposed to be going home. We're not predicting it accurately. So all the work that you're hearing everybody speak about, this is essentially to fix the crystal ball to give us a more accurate prediction with fewer defects.
Good afternoon. My name is Desiree Brisebois. I'm a registered nurse in the patient flow department. Part of our RPIW work included a waste or MUDA walk in order to observe the MUDA on the unit and within the processes on the unit. This is our pre-Kaizen waste wheel. As you can see, we found a lot of waste and many areas for improvement. Through this observation, we were able to identify a 5S area next to the nurse's station. Our area had a pre-5S score of 1.0. As you can see, several items needed to be removed and simplified. Following our 5S, we ended up with a post-5S score of 2.8 by eliminating unnecessary and unused items, as well as organizing the area based on items that the nurses used more frequently. Subsequent to our project on 5A, as you can see, we eliminated a majority of the waste. However, there is still room for improvement.
Okay, and I'll just talk to you a little bit about our newspaper. A couple of items that are still left over is that there was no system for standard work, so we will develop and implement standard work replication and prediction model going forward. And there was also no system in place to track and graph the barriers that exist off of the prediction sheets. And this is really important because it really closes that loop and allows us to really get a good understanding of what barriers are still existing and how we can go about fixing them. That's okay. Okay. So some of our final process measures. On the prediction sheet, we started off with 33. We're actually, or 28. Pardon me, pieces of data. We're actually finishing with 25. We started with 33 people at the bedside meeting. We're actually finishing with 15. And the quality defects, we're actually tracking them now, tracking them better with the barriers. So confirmed discharges, not discharged. Predicted discharges were both 0. And we did have one unexpected discharge, but we can look into that because of the barriers on the new prediction sheet. The other actionable measures that we're tracking are before the prediction sheet had no action column. There was no way of us following up on those barriers. We do now have one. And then the last ones were the AM and the PM bed huddle. Again, we started with an AM bed huddle of 21 minutes. We're actually at 23 minutes. But that something to note with that 23 minutes is it includes now the workplace on wheels, the prediction sheet, and the charge nurse is really taking that in that 23 minutes. She's really getting real-time barriers from the team nurse, finding out what's going on with that patient and developing that action plan. So that's why it takes a little bit longer to go around for the morning rounds. And then the PM huddle, of course, we started with nothing because there wasn't one there. We're going to do a tack time of 5 minutes. Okay.
I'll quickly go through our workshop summary. We created a standard work and linkages with our D system in order to make this more patient-focused. We created a new prediction sheet with actions to our barriers. Our PM huddle is now integrated and follows on the prediction barriers. The bed meeting now follows our demand and capacity worksheet. The new patient family member, Bonnie, is part of our RQHR family and team, and we also have a new reporting template for the bed meeting. I'd like to highlight our thank yous to this group of people, and especially a big thanks to Kara on 5A manager, as well as all of her 5A staff for putting up with us for the week. Big thank you to the bed meeting managers for putting up with all our PDSAs. And also I'd like to send a sincere thank you to our patient representative, Bonnie McClintock.